Welcome to part 1 of our discussion of Phasmophobia. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Phasmophobia, future updates, and things we'd like to see added to the game. As always, you can join us on Twitter, Facebook, and Discord, and our recently launched Twitch channel where you can hang out with us live and watch us play various video games, including Phasmophobia. I'm Obi, I'm going to be joined by Sobi today. With that out of the way, let's jump into it. Just kind of starting off, Phasmophobia, it's a game that we've both really enjoyed. What is it specifically about the game that you enjoy the most?
The thing that I enjoy about the game the most, I would say, is probably being able to play, being able to play with people and then also get scared at the same time. I'm not a very big horror game guy, and so being able to play a horror game with other people and have other people around me get spooked out just as much as what I am, I think is something that really draws me to the game.
Right, and that's an interesting concept that you said that, like, you don't really like horror games, and I'm the complete opposite. Like, I love horror games. So it's nice to be able to bring you in to play this game with me as a friend, and then, also have other people, but like not necessarily experience what you're going through, but to hear it. Because how you feel, in a certain situation is not necessarily how I feel. Where like, a ghost pops up and says, hey, in the beginning when I first started playing Phasmophobia, like whenever it speaks into your ear, like it freaked me out, but like after about 10-15 matches I started to realize, okay, cool, like that's just it trying to mess with me. Like occasionally it'll startle me where I'm just like, oh, I wasn't expecting that, but for the most part, like I understand what it is, I understand the mechanic of it, and it's kind of interesting to see how like you still react to it as a lot differently than I do. And that's actually something that we were talking about, like they need to kind of improve on and move forward within the game, is the spook factor. After you've played the game for so long, has really it's lost that spook factor and that scariness to it. And that's kind of an issue that I personally have. And I'm sure a lot of other people are going through that as well, where again, when I first started playing the game, I was really nervous about going in, and now not so much, especially if we're playing on something like the Asylum or the high school. Like I don't have an issue at all going into either one of those buildings, even during the hunt, just simply because like I know I can get away. And at this point, I think that there needs to be something within the game that kind of drives people forward and helps them to stay interested in it, because at this point, like I really love the game. I still like playing it, but I'm at the point now where like I'm starting to see the mechanics of the game and the gears more than the ghosts, if that makes any sense. What are your thoughts on that?
No, that makes complete sense, because I mean, even me who isn't really like a horror game player or anything like that, I've noticed that it is a little bit different for me now, going from like when we first started playing where I was like, cool, I'm gonna hang out in the truck like the whole time, just have fun, to now where it's like, okay, well, we need to get a picture of the ghost, because that's gonna give us more money. Here, I'm just gonna go in the room, try to provoke it or something by saying its name and stuff. So, that's a big difference for me as far as like gameplay, but then also just trying to really like back you up on what you're saying is, I mean, that's a complete 180 from the way I used to play. When we first started, again, I was scared, but now I will go in just, okay, what do we got going on? Who's here? Let me get a picture of you.
I mean, you still get freaked out, but like not to the point that you did to where you're like, I don't even want to step foot in this place.
Yeah, exactly. I think that if, and I know that it's only one developer, but I think if he could really figure out how to take the spook factor to the next level, that'll bring it out of just being a fun Spooktober game, that was really popular in October, to being a really scary game all year round.
No, I would agree. I think that, I mean, you're like right on like the same page that I am, and I have like so many different ideas for this game that, I understand. So basically, if anybody doesn't know, again, this is a single developer, and there's a lot of like community suggestions that basically at this point he is not going to follow through with. Like PvP, I'll be honest with you guys, it's not going to be a thing. It's a thing that I personally don't want in the game either. I think it would ruin what Phasmophobia is. However, there are some other things that as he develops the game, because this is his passion project, like he is going to ignore from the community, which unfortunately, it is unfortunate, but at the same time, like it's just one of those things that we're going to have to deal with. But I mean, as far as like taking the spook factor to the next level, like for one, he definitely, like we need to see the ghost more often. than what we do. Like, even if it's something as simple as like we're walking down a hallway, like let's say it's like a T shape and you're walking down like the stem of the T, you know, and you're just like walking and then all of a sudden you see the ghost cross from like left to right, like from one side of the hall to the other, like real quick, and then you turn the corner and there's nothing there. Like that would like, I'd be like, oh, okay. Especially like if it's like an early in the map, I'd be like, okay, well, at least I know the ghost is here, but that was creepy, you know? Like he like, you know, like just not even focusing on me. He's just doing his own thing, you know? Like something out of a horror movie, or even if maybe occasionally, depending on what type of spirit there is, and I would like to see more spirits added, but even like if maybe like one player out of the entire group experienced like weird things, like maybe this type of ghost, or like maybe there could be a couple different types of ghosts that do this, and this would also be, again, this would be a narrowing down factor. It's like, cool, well, you're experiencing these things, like that's kind of a clue. Maybe it's like, you know, one of these three types of ghosts, but basically like they mess with your head. They pick one or two people out of your entire group and you start seeing hallucinations, like, you know, like things pop up on screen, or like maybe you walk into the high school and it looks like something out of Silent Hill, you know, like all of a sudden, like you're like walking, everything's fine, and then boom, lights flash for a second, everything's rusted over, bloody looking. Like that would freak me out to the point where I'd be like, all right, you know, like my environment just changed. I am not okay with this, you know?
Right. Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. And I think that's really cool. I think that even if he were just to add it, like what you were saying, where it was just like maybe a little bit more active and it did things like unprovoked, because I feel like right now it is a lot of like, and this is where I'm seeing more of the gears of the game rather than the actual, you know, game for like it being like a ghost or whatever, you know, where you have to basically go in and do certain things to provoke it. So basically you have to input things into the system to be able to get things out. And that's where if you could kind of break that cycle of putting things in to get things out, and just it having, it's, you know, like what you said, it's doing its own thing. You know, it's flicking lights on upstairs. It's, you know, it's walking around, you know, you know, you see it for just a split second, then you don't see it. Just, I mean, some just different things. I mean, you know, like you said, walking across the hall or knocking down a picture frame. One thing that I'm a little upset about is that like pictures or like plates or stuff like that, they don't really have their own sound effect. And so like, unless you're sitting there and you're watching it happen, you'll never know that it happened.
Yeah, I mean, they do produce his sound, but they all sound very similar. So you're like, cool, was it here? Like, it's really hard to pinpoint. He hasn't like gotten the sound ratios proper, like for like different rooms and stuff, if that makes any sense. Because there's been so many times where like I've heard something, it sounds like it's on my right, but it's really on my left. And I would agree with you, just to kind of clarify what I was talking about, like seeing the ghosts. Because I mean, the ghosts do pop up. Like we do occasionally see the ghosts. I know people in the comments are going to be like, well, that does happen, but I'm talking to like on a more frequent account rather than just popping up in like sitting in a room, or like occasionally, like in the high school I had it one time where like a ghost popped up with like it was holding a sickle and it was just slowly walking towards me, which did creep me out, and it like made me want to get the hell out of there. But like just things that happen on a more regular basis. And then also I would agree, like having to provoke the ghosts, like there are certain ghosts in the game, and it's all based off of, I'm assuming, some kind of like randomizing algorithm as far as like how the ghost is going to behave, because I've had, I would say 99% of the ghosts that I have had are fairly passive. Thank you for watching part 1 of our discussion on Phasmophobia. As always, be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Discord, and again, our recently launched Twitch channel. While we're here, I'd like to go ahead and announce the winner for our Assassin's Creed Valhalla giveaway. Let's give a warm congratulations to Dilly Dog. You can redeem your prize via Discord. We'll talk to you soon. Until next time, this is Obi.
This is Obi.
Signing out.
See you guys next time.